Hello. Today we are going to read a fanfic very long. I hope you guys can sit with me as I read this so beautiful piece of artwork. This beautiful fanfic I am reading out of all for the love of the game at this point, because there ain't no way I have gone through this all except once, and that was something. Okay, so let's start. The World Meets Canada by patientharmony. Chapter 1. The Prologue. Disclaimer. They definitely don't own Hatalia because we already know who does. The prologue has started. Scotland, Wales, and Ireland walked together on their way to the meeting. It was rare that they would attend, but whenever they did, there was always a number of nations that they felt they had to see. They usually only came along for meetings that would last an entire month. A month! It was still the first day, so they didn't expect to find one of their favorite nations so soon, and especially in such a state. Canada was walking in the opposite direction, holding his bear close. The British siblings could see that he was crying, and then immediately felt concerned. And they immediately felt concern wash over them. Canada didn't seem to notice them, but when they were close enough, Wales reached out and grabbed the North American's arm, shocking said nation. Matt, what's wrong? I can't do voice impressions at this point. I'm sorry. I can't do good voice impressions. The Canadian shook his head, and more tears fell down his cheeks. Wales pulled the younger nation into a hug, and Canada clung onto him, sobbing in the elder's chest. Come on, Scotland said, reaching out to rub the younger's shoulder. What happened? It's nothing, Canada said. I should be used to it by now, but I can't. Ireland soothed. Start from the beginning. I went down for breakfast with America, France, and England, and they kind of forgot I was there, Canada explained. Alvin spilled his coffee on me, and I had to go to the bathroom to clean it up. When I got back, they were gone, but they left me to check. And when I went to the meeting room, they were safe together, but they didn't send me a seat, like they said they would. And the seats next to them were already taken. I tried to talk to them about it, but they didn't even notice me. I couldn't take it. This is the first day of the meeting. It is already a disaster. Candace sits in the corner. At this point, because ain't no way he took this disrespect. Scotland gritted his teeth, and Wales and Ireland exchanged a glance. Ever considered getting new friends? Ireland asked. No one else notices or remembers me. And it's supposed to be my family. We are too. You can hang out with us. But what about the next meeting? You guys aren't always here. What about we help you make some new friends? Wales asked. Once I notice you, I'm sure they would never forget you. You're very sweet and likable, Matthew. He's right. I know. Will, don't you have a spotlight spell or something? Sure. What's that? It's going to lift your invisibility, but only for about a month. So make sure you make a lasting impression, Ireland said. I know I said that in the wrong order, but hey, screw you. Anyways. Really? You do that for me? You want? Okay. My cat had to get on this. Lad, if it means we never have to see you cry like this again, Scotland said, then we'll do this happily. And note, so The end, always read the end notes. Never, and I mean never, and I mean never skip these end notes because it's just wild how they wrote this down. I've rewritten this a few times. Rearranged the list. It's bothersome, said the creator. So there are 57 nations. Yes, 57. that Canada has to meet. All of them will be interested in Canada romantically. Of those 57, 41 of them will be going for Canada's attention. And the authorship's about 31 of them. Actually, no, that's not even surprising at this point. And there will be no pro-gun. Who said that? And no Canada with the UK bros or the rest of the Face family. I was going to have, and here's the part that gets me the most. You can kind of tell they actually did read the manga just by this long. I was going to have Australia act as a brother figure, exempting him from the shipping process. Then I thought about Mexico, which is most likely the only OC other than the UK. We're just going to ignore the fact that this is a fan UK. So Mexico will be acting as a sister towards Canada. And Australia joins the land for nations. She said, oh my god. It's a fact that you can kind of tell they kind of read the manga. And this was made in 2017, so this was way before the hiatus ever happened. A year later. Actually, you know what? The hiatus was like months later, technically. So, yeah, that one panel in like one of the chapters before the hiatus or something, there was a chapter with Canada being given younger Australia as England abandoned him yet again. We love our favorite abandoner. So now, that's why I say that. You can kind of tell. Anyways. For the second chapter, which is the first actual chapter, the true first chapter, not the second one. Okay, we're gonna have to get that clear. It goes every other number. So chapter 1 is actually chapter 0, chapter 2 is actually chapter 1. You see what I mean? So there's technically 22 chapters, but 23 chapters. It says fanfiction.net, which is true. Chapter 1, a big heart. Canada walked into the meeting room with his 3 uncles. The spell has been cast, but they would be hanging around Canada for the day, making sure that the younger nation was really alright before they left him to his own devices. They're trying to babe-proof this mess. I can't do it. There were more nations than there had been when Canada was there earlier, but there were so many empty seats available. There were more than enough places for the 4 of them to sit together. They chose seats far away from England, France, and America. Canada needed time to heal, and those 3 wouldn't help. They sat with Wales sitting next to China, Scotland next to Wales, Ireland next to Scotland, and Canada between Ireland and an empty seat. They had arranged that so Canada could attempt to befriend a nation that would sit on the other side with him, while he would have his supportive uncles on the other side. Yay, sidelines. We're getting sidelined ever. Always getting sidelined. Anyways. A few minutes passed and more nations filled the room, and Canada was starting to wonder if anyone would come to sit on the other side of him. But he didn't need to wait for long before someone did sit next to him. I'm sorry, my lisp. I forgot to mention I have a lisp, so I'm not good with any words at this point. Canada smiled when he realized that it was someone that he knew and who he got along with very well. Hello, matey, Ukraine greeted. Are you alright? You look like you were crying. Ukraine grew concerned as she said the last 2 sentences and Canada sighed. I'm alright, Canada said. I did. Much better. How have you been, Kat? Ukraine still looked worried, but she still plastered on a small smile. Oh, I'm alright, she said. I finally got a chance to do some knitting again. Would you like a scarf, Mifty? Oh, you don't have to do that. It's fine. What are friends for? Canada smiled, realizing that he did have a friend in Ukraine. She never forgot him. and often would actively seek out his company when she wasn't looking for Russia and / or Belarus. And she usually didn't approach him when he was with England, France, and / or America. Canada felt a nudge and turned to see Ireland looking at him. "Who's that?" Ireland whispered. "Ukraine," Candace said. "I couldn't help but notice that she called you by your first name, though. A different variation." "Are you close?" Candace smiled. I suppose we are." Ukraine couldn't help but listen to Canada's conversation with the nation on the other side of him, and she was a little suspicious and perhaps a little jealous. When she heard the other ask if they were close, she blushed slightly when Canada answered in the affirmative, and to her surprise, the others would smile in approval. She wondered if they were close friends or perhaps relatives. She took a moment to examine the ginger-haired nation, immediately noticing the green eyes and thick eyebrows. She wondered if this was one of England's brothers. We're just going to ignore the description, I had to say it. She looked towards England, seeing him glaring at the group, and she turned her attention to the other two, seeing their eyes and eyebrows as well. She concluded that it was part of England's brothers, and thus Canada's uncles. She had heard Canada lamenting the fact they didn't come to meetings enough, since they were among the only nations, according to Canada, that could see him and recognize him at first glance. Ukraine had to bite her lip every time when the thought came up that there were many nations that noticed him. Herself, Russia, Netherlands, Romano. But she didn't want others to realize how popular he really was, or she would lose him to someone else. "No, don't leave me." It might have been selfish, but compared to her siblings, she never took what she wanted. She could afford to be selfish once, right? Although she never approached Canada when he was with England, France, or America, simply because she could sense a hostility that through them radiated whenever Canada was around. She couldn't understand it. They were supposed to be family, but... She shook her head and thought before contemplating the scarf she should knit for Matthew. She was thinking red, since it seemed to be Canada's favorite color. Also one of the colors on his flag. It was also the color of the heart and love. And perhaps when she gave it to him, she could finally confess her feelings to him. "So, it looks like he already has one friend," Wales commented to his brothers, looking at Canada and Ukraine, who were conversing again. "Hey," Scotland said, "and she seems nice. A good friend for Maddie." "I wonder why he was under the impression that he didn't have other friends," Ireland said. Scotland turned his attention to England, who was glaring at him and he smirked. The smirk turned to a scowl as he saw England's attention drift to Canada. Scotland saw the annoyance had been England's gaze turned to fury instead. "I'm sorry for all this insane voice acting. It's not the best. You can tell. I'm an amateur. Anyways, something tells me that Artie has something to do with it," Scotland said, before turning his attention first to France and then America. France and America were arguing, though quietly, which was very unusual. But he could see as he glanced towards Candy, every now and then again, both looking suspicious and angry. "We got a situation," Scotland muttered. "So Mifty," Ukraine said, "would you like to have lunch with me?" "Sure," Canada said. Can my uncles come? Kind of arranged to spend the day together." Ukraine looked toward the other three with an unreadable expression on her face before she smiled. "Of course, if that is what you want," Ukraine said. "Will America and the others be coming?" "No," Canada said a little darkly. "No," Canada said a little darkly, which startled Ukraine. "I don't really want to spend any time with them for a while." Ukraine smiled softly, and two spoke quietly amongst themselves as the room filled up, and eventually Germany called for silence, and the meeting was about to begin. Ukraine was very pleased that Canada didn't want to spend any time with America and the others, and if his uncles were nice, nothing stopped her from spending more time with Canada. There's no time because this is expected. And there's the First Nation. I had a list randomized names until the first one was someone that Canada was already close to. Ukraine was the result. More to come, and we'll see more nations. Thoughts regarding Canada before and after UK bros interference. So each chapter feature a different nation. This is going to be a long story. At least update-wise. The story is meant to take place in a month. And by the end of chapter 57, with the last nation introduced during the last one is a romantic interest. It's only in the middle of the second week. Oh wait, there's 31 days. 4 weeks is 28 days. Yeah. It's a long story. I told y'all it was going to be long. I told y'all this was a 240K plus worded fanfiction with 223 chapters. Yes, 223 chapters. Don't crucify me for this. Anyways, let's continue on to the second chapter. Okay. Some notes. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that. We can all read that. Chapter 2. Tulips. When the meeting had become too chaotic, Germany called for a 10-minute break in order for everyone to calm down. Everyone that wasn't involved in the argument was happy to be free from others that were. Canada sighed, looking at England, Scotland, and Ireland, who were having a brawl on the ground. He was still a little upset with what happened that morning, but he still thought the 2 against 1 was unfair. Just when he was about to go and stop the fighting, a tall figure made its presence known behind him. Forgive me for butchering this. Matthias. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. Canada jumped in surprise before he smiled as he turned to Lars. Hello, Lars, Canada said. How are you? I'm doing well, Netherlands said, ignoring Ukraine, who had a frown on her face. Dead glare eyes, frown on her face, looking at him like, why are you interrupting my conversation and my time with Pookie Bear? Okay, I have to stop doing that. No, this is part of it. We are getting bloopers in this. So don't expect me if it sucks. Okay, back to normal. I'm doing well, Netherlands said, ignoring Ukraine. Oh wait, I read that again. Did you get the tulips I sent you? Wait, you're really beautiful, as usual. Hello, Netherlands, Wales said, and Netherlands turned to the Welshman. Hello, he said. Where's Alistair? Wales gestured to his still brawling brothers, and America and France were in the process of pulling Scotland and Ireland away from England. Ireland stared at the scene for a moment before turning to Canada. Would you like to accompany me for lunch? Ireland asked. We kind of arranged to spend the day together, Will said, since we don't see our nephew that often. You're welcome to join us, Canada invited. Kat's coming along as well. Netherlands turned to Ukraine. With his usual expression, it was hard to see the glare, and Ukraine smiled, but Netherlands knew it to be a smirk. The other 2 were oblivious to it. If it's no trouble, Ireland said, turning back to Ken, I'll be happy to join you. He turned his attention back to the fight of the UK. Aren't you going to stop them, Wales? No. It's almost finished anyways. I'll be joining them myself if I was prone to violence as they are, but I'm not. So I'm just watching, enjoying the show. Not prone to violence? Canada asked. Have you ever seen yourself after a rude awakening? You're one to rage at anyone, Canada Wales laughed. Ukraine on its had resumed their simple, glaring contest. Okay. Oh, they were well aware of each other's feelings regarding Canada, and they were constantly trying to better the other. And with America, France, and England occupied elsewhere, they could take full advantage of the situation. Mattia, a female voice exclaimed. The 2 broke their glaring contest as a tanned woman with curly brown hair tied to a ponytail tackled the still-seated Canada in a hug. Rosa, Canada ran. What's with... I haven't seen you in so long, Mexico said. It's just stupid America. So how's my favorite brother? Technically, I'm not media. I haven't talked to you as my brother for a long time again. You're too cute not to. Ukrainian others were watching the scene with narrowed eyes. though it was narrowed only a fraction and barely noticeable. You need to have dinner with me sometime, Mexico said. Give you some proper Mexican food to warm you up. As the Ukraine were more than annoyed they heard that, and Candace smiled. Thank you, Candace said. We'll see sometime this week, eh? Breaks over, Jeremy called out. Everyone back to your seats. Mexico ruffled Candace's hair, and she left to return to her seat. Ireland nodded to Canada before he also left for his seat. Ireland and Scotland returned to their seats as well, looking more than a little satisfied. Was that really necessary? Canada asked. Hey, Scotland said. Trust me. Before the fight had turned physical, the British siblings had argued with each other in Old Celt, and no one was able to follow the argument. And what they learned made them furious. England wanted them to stay away from Canada since the boys were off without them. I'm being dramatic, anyways. They had bit back that they treat Canada better than England did. He commented that they always treat Canada in a supple way, and that the argument went downward. But they knew that England was happy that Canada was spending time with its uncles that actually acknowledged him. Nerons, once in the seat, turned his attention to Canada. He narrowed his eyes when he saw Ukraine quietly whispering to Canada while order was still being restored, and he hated the fact that Canada had sat next to him before the meeting began. He glanced toward Scotland. He felt a chill go down his spine when he saw Scotland glaring at England with fury. There was something going on there, and he was pleased not be on receiving such a glare. Broski, you're one of the tallest characters in that town. How are you scared of this little pint-sized midget compared to you? Pint-sized, by the way, compared to this dude. If we're going based on the average stereotype of this dude being tall. He knew the Scotsman was particularly protective of Canada, and he had once gone to Scotsmen drunk and maybe a little drugged in order to find out true nature of his relationship with Canada. Oh my God, that's a crime. He had been relieved to find out it was purely platonic. Mainly distant from Mexico. Oh! He looked around the room and saw with a hint of annoyance that most nations were eyeing Canada than usual. He already had to do with Ukraine, Russia, Romano, Seychelles. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not even going to go into Australia and Hong Kong. Bro, you're a teenager. You can't be doing this. Don't throw your life away for Canadian. Your cheeks, man. Calm down. Oh my God. As competition, but now it seemed as though more nations were interested in Canada, and that included Belgium. Yes, the sister. You know what the looks were, having spent a long time observing the nations, as many as intended to do, and he didn't like it. He had been vying for Canada's affection since World War II, and he wouldn't allow anyone else to get to Canada before him. He would need to extend the gestures more than just tulips. Luckily, he had been invited to lunch with Canada and Ukraine, Scotland, and Wales and Ireland, and so he could do something to gain the others' attention. He then turned his attention to France, and his eyes widened when he saw anger in France's blue eyes as they swept the room, watching nations just like Netherlands was, before turning his attention to Canada and narrowing his eyes. There's something going on there as well. In the past, Netherlands has been preventing from getting close because of the other's family, and always has a suspicious feeling involving other trio. Something was right about that. Oh my God, my throat dry. But we're gonna pull through it. We're gonna pull through it until the end. Author's notes. I'm trying to make the chapters 1,000 words for consistency, so a lot of thoughts are involved where action will come. Chapter 3. Down Under. When it was time for lunch, every nation was relieved, and Canada was sure that there would have been a cheer. Well, other than America's cheer. Speaking of America immediately went towards Canada once the announcement for lunchtime was made. Hey, Maddie. America said, come to McDonald's with me. Before Canada could protest, America had him by the arm, and he had already started dragging Canada off. But someone managed to pry Canada free from America. America whirled around, blue eyes flashing with fear before he saw the other. Right. That pried Canada free was Scotland, who looked at America with something akin to hate. America shrank back in fear, shriveled up in the corner. Probably dog peeing on him, but we don't talk about that part. Matt's joined us for lunch, Scotland said, and you're not invited. Oh, yeah, America said. Oh, who exactly are you anyway? Stupid brat. I said, we're English old brothers, ones you shouldn't try to pick a fight with. Oh, wait. Ask Artie about the Viking era, Scotland said. Denmark loved to invite me along with everything best with art. America's eyes narrowed before he grinned. Matt, would you rather have lunch with me than you, right? America asked, turned blue eyes to Canada. Mate, you're suicidal, a voice said from behind America. America turned to see Australia, who was standing there with his arm crossed looking at America with a bored expression. Those claws looked possessively evil. Positively evil, I mean. Even more so than it usually did. And why that? America asked. Australia grinned before giving his claw to Wales. The claw relaxed, continued to glare at America. The three of them earned the respect of all my pets. Australia said, and you know what kind of pets I have, and what it takes to earn the respect. I cannot do, I'm telling you, accents, I suck at them. America's eyes narrowed, and he yelped when someone bit his leg. He looked and see Kumajiro, who growled at him. Finally, we get the bear. We finally get Kumajiro. Everyone keeps forgetting Kumajiro exists. In the big 2025. I know, it sounds like this is from 2010, but 2025. Yeah, it's true. I guess bears say that you're not welcome here, Scotland said. So leave. America threw one last look at Canada, who shrank back in surprise before he started to leave Kumajiro, releasing him at the first sign of movement. Canada picked up Kumajiro and snuggled him close. Thank you, Kumajiro, Canada whispered, and the bear responded by licking his cheek. Australia smiled at the sight, realizing that Canada didn't want to spend any amount of time with America, and the Aussie was completely fine with it. He never liked America, and he especially hated the way he treated Canada. But Canada was so lonely that he always went back to America. So Jet, Ireland said, snapping Australia from his thoughts. You want to join us for lunch? Australia grinned before he eagerly nodded his head. The five of them then proceeded out the door. Australia was annoyed when he saw Netherlands and Ukraine falling into step with them. And he turned to Netherlands, knowing him better than Ukraine. Why are you coming along? Australia asked. Matthias invited me. Netherlands and Ukraine nodded in agreement. Australia sulked, but didn't try to argue with the other two. He didn't want to lose an invitation to lunch. It was normal to have lunch with his uncles. The only time Australia had lunch with Canada was when they were both having lunch with the other nations. Australia's claw fidgeted in Wales' hold, and the Welshman handed back to Australia. The Aussie saw the koala looking forlornly at Canada, and he sighed, knowing what the bear-like creature wanted. But Kumajiro was curling. Yo! The koala has a crush on Kumajiro? Nah! What type of... This is a whole nother of insanity. One of the reasons why Australia liked Canada was because his koala liked him. Not respected, but liked. That was extremely weird. Respect, especially nasty little marsupial. And the two were still colonies. There was this one time when Australia happened looking for his koala and found snuggled with sleeping Canada. That was probably when Australia started falling in love with Canada. Oh my god. Nah. This is worse than you could imagine. The other had looked so cute asleep, especially when the koala snuggled on one side and the polar bear on the other side. Canada looked like an angel. And Australia's but yo, pipe down, bro. Ski. But when he knew that the other son is no more than a brother, good, and that frustrated Australia more than anything. Why did that have to be the relationship? They arrived at the cafeteria, and they went to stand in line to get some food. Although Scotland pulled Australia aside like serious. What's up? Australia asked. It's Matt, Scotland sighed. This morning we found him crying, wanted to leave the meeting before he even started. Before he began. Screw. This morning we found him crying, wanted to leave the meeting before he even began. All because of how England, France, and America treat him. Australia felt his fist clench, and the frown decorated his face. What they do? Yes. They invited him to breakfast, ignored him, then left him with the check, Scotland said. When he arrived at the meeting room, they ignored him. Australia gritted his teeth. Those bastards, Australia said. And that the American asshole tried to force Matt to have lunch with him? We're trying to get him to make new friends, Scotland said. Perfectly new ones that would notice him. We need to keep Artie, France, and America away from him. Are you going to help us with that? Australia looked towards Canada, who was laughing at something that the Netherlands had said. Australia wanted to be the one to make Canada laugh like that. He looked very like that. Oh! Now, Australia realized that Canada always has small smiles. And its laughter was also subdued. If Australia could get him to truly laugh. Australia turned back to Scotland with determination and said, I'll do it. Australia said, I'll be there for Matt. He deserves it. And it meant that he could spend some time with Canada. Of course, he didn't want to share Canada with other nations. That meant that Canada could be happy for a change. Australia wants to see Canada just like when he wasn't in anyone's shadow. Oh, my throat! Okay, author says time because this is just the most normal part of it. As I mentioned, Australia was meant to be a brother figure, but the role of siblings that's there for Canada has been taken by Mexico. There's something called multiple siblings, right? I mean, technically, I'm not even going to get into this course right now up until I get to the part where I'm not even going to spoil it for anyone at this point because this whole dub is already a spoiler. We're not going to get to it. We're never going to get into it right now. Later. Some of the original plot leaked in here, but Australia had a crush on Canada, and he feels that there won't be more because Canada only perceives him as a brother, at least until certain other characters come in. The Australia would definitely be trying for Canada. Oh! The part where Denmark and fights Scotland along on Viking raids is influenced by reading a few comics of Scandinavian underworld. Oh! It's been mentioned. I've read a few comics. They're generally not for the faint heart, though. Very stereotypical. Okay, let's move on to our favorite. Not our favorite chapter. And why am I saying favorite? Our favorites. Pause, because I don't know what's happening anymore. And we're already 3 chapters in. I'm wrong. We're 4 chapters in, technically. Chapter 4, Younger Brother. After their lunch, the group proceeded to return to the meeting room, conversing cheerfully amongst themselves. Most of them, Netherlands preferred to remain silent. But when he was addressed, he gave an answer to the best of his ability, which tended to be short and to the point. Canada and the British brothers were oblivious to attention around the other 3, who regarded each other with some disdain. They stopped when they saw someone passing from an adjoining hallway, red-facing, grumbling. Oh no, this is the chapter where I started my hateful expert. Oh my god. If you know me on Tumblr or Discord, any platform I have, like TikTok, only TikTok, Tumblr, and Discord, have I talked about why? Look, there was this fan fiction that made me do it. Cause, you know why I'm saying this? And you guys all Hey guys, if you've seen TikTok, Discord, or actually not even Tumblr. Tumblr's not gonna see this. I don't really post much about my favorite characters except for my most hated, which I got 2 posts. One mentioning him and one big strip about him. And everyone knows my favorite character, Melosi. So I'm gonna slightly cringe. But I'm gonna still enjoy it because at least it's content of my favorite character. At least I get some content. Both underrated. Anyways. Kanda instantly recognized him, rushed over to catch up with him. Malosia. Kanda called. I can't. Malosia. Kanda called. The other whipped around. Sorry. What the hell do you... Oh, Kanda. Once Malosia saw who was, he lost his anger. That's what Kanda noticed too. It's in the other's eye. Jason, what's wrong, Kanda? It's nothing. She said a little quieter than usually. I was just being an idiot. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Whatever's upsetting you is nothing. Come on, you can tell me. I just want to help. The others were watching for this. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, why am I doing this anywhere? Who's that? I realized. Melosia. He's one of the micronations. Met a few times. Mouth almost as foul as I want to tell him. He's also American. Scotland narrowed his eyes fine. The other was a... So the casual xenophobia is crazy work. And he regarded the other with suspicion. Mostly fished for a few moments before turning to Kanda. It's not wrong for me to like someone, is it? Kanda asked. Kanda blinked before his eyes widened with horror. I'm just gonna add it because I don't really care anymore. What? He asked. No, not at all. If it's station of foundation, Jason, if she likes me, it can't be wrong. Even if it's another guy. I've seen a male to female relationship. You're kind of one. I'm just gonna say you are one because I'm thinking you might even end up her. As long as you can make each other happy, there's no problem now. Melissa looked down. It's not what America said. Kanda felt a hint of it. Yep, we got it. Homophobic Alfred in the house. Alfred Homophobe Jones over here at this book. Why am I making corny jokes at this time? This is chapter that. This is indeed. We're not even balls deep into this, and we already got the subplot. What did Alfred say? Can't I? Say it's ridiculous. I'm wasting my time like someone that would never want me. And he said that's wrong for me like another guy. Now that's a whole bunch of rubbish. What? That was kind of overheard the conversation. And they walked closer to the other two. Melosia saw the group and left his guard up. We're nations. I'll try to continue. And you'll find that more than half of us like someone of our own gender. Hell, I like that. So that's Dutchy here. Dutchy? Dutchy? What type of side piecing is this? Really? Kanda asked, looking between Austria and Netherlands. Who? Never mind, Netherlands. Point is, don't listen to anything that American says. None of us do. Kanda turned back to Melissa. Just tell him how you feel. Kanda said. Even if he doesn't feel the same way, maybe some closure, maybe he does feel the same way. But it's too shy to admit it. Maybe give you a chance. Maybe let the walls down. Melissa looked towards Kanda before he nodded. Kanda smiled before wrapping Melosia in a hug. The other clung to him before he turned his head to others. Now you are going to breathe a word of this, he said lonely. None. Kanda chuckled before pulling away from the recognition. You don't mind me asking, who do you like? This is a moment of truth. This is a moment of truth where I say it. Melosia glanced towards other nations more and closer. Luxembourg. Yep, this is how it happened, guys. Kanda chuckled, looking back to his friends and family. It's Netherlands' little brother, Kanda said. He seems nice enough. I'm sure Lars wouldn't have a problem with it. So he looked over his shoulder before he shuddered. Thanks. Ray turned his face to Scott. Also turned around and started to walk away. Oh, and Jason? Canada called out, if you ever need to talk to someone, call them to me, alright? Wilson stopped and stretched before he nodded his head and resumed walking. Canada smiled, turned back to others. Shall we go? Canada asked. I won't be late now, do we? Group resumed walking, and Charlotte fell into step next to Canada. I met the micronation a few times. Never been polite. I don't think I've ever heard him cursing. That's because Melissa trusts me, Ed said. He puts on this tough guy act, which involves a lot of cursing when he feels uncomfortable around someone. So he's very antisocial, is what I'm hearing, which is probably good for the best. He's actually really shy. Once he feels like he can trust you that you won't hurt him, he tones it down. He's swearing a lot less around other micronations too. Right? I guess. I didn't know so much. He's all like Lovino. I got to know him pretty well. He's American micronation. He's America's brother, and that makes him by extension my brother. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, that makes more sense to what most. And I'm gonna probably be tackled by US UK shippers and spam model shippers. Or anyone who ships any relative with each other. Implied or sworn. Technically, right? I don't know. It's just me. I don't know why this discourse happens. If you just... I'm not even gonna get into it because it makes me kind of livid, but I respect y'all. Y'all can, y'all don't have to interact with me, you know? But then again, we are reading something that is gonna contain, like, I don't know, I don't even know anymore. Remember, 2017, this was normal back then. And we already got no US UK or spam model stuff here, which is perfect. So, if you guys were here just for those, and not for the actual story, leave. I don't care about y'all. Go home. Yeah, I guess you're right. Anyways, who do you like? Ed asked. After a blush and looked away, leaving confused Canadian. The group returned to the meeting room, where Australia and Ireland separated to go to their seats. The rest made their way onto their own seats together, and Canada couldn't help but throw a glance at America's still vacant seat, wondering why his brother would say something like that to their younger brother. I might as well make an actual diagram of how relationships work at this point, because I don't even know. I might as well make... I don't know if I'm ever going to make this relationship chart. Probably for myself, but probably for everyone else too. At this point, if I feel like it, I'll release it if I ever do. Mifty, Crane's voice interrupted his thoughts. Can I ask you something? He turned towards her and gave her a soft smile. Sure, he said. What is it? Is there someone that you like? He blinked surprised before he sighed. Not really, he said. I didn't want to give myself false hope. I mean, I know it's a waste. No one will want me. Invisible little Canada. He doesn't hold a candle to his brother. Yes, that brother. Oh, maybe, she said so. Don't think like that. Lots of nations will want you, herself included. He sighed again before turning his attention to America, who had barged through the door. Crane promised herself that she would show Canada that he wasn't as invisible as he thought. I'll eventually get into detail about why England, France, and America are being such shucks. It might take a while, though. This chapter, the last one of the night. Woohoo! Chapter 5, Poker Face. So we're going to gamble today? Can't decide when the meeting was finished. England, France, and America had seemed particularly irritable to the day. That day. And they would start a fight with just about anyone. Canada could have sworn he's already fighting for tears a few times. What? A few times? A few times? Charlie cried a few times. What are you back to? I sound like cornball. Ignore me. We're not. You're on my bed. So, boo. You ready to go? Iron asked. We'll have some dinner tonight, alright? Candace smiled, nodding his head eagerly. After bidding Ukraine a farewell, Canada left with his uncles, or at least he attempted to. Maddie! America shouted, tackling the Canadian. Come have dinner with us. Nope, Scotland said, leading Canada away. America glared before he grabbed Canada. Come on, America whined. You skipped out on lunch, you always. America, Canada said. Anger hurt boiling beside him. Its hand, dainty hand, tapped America on the shoulder. Turned around to see who was only in his eyes that saw annoyed look in Mexico. What do you want? He said with grace. I'm not even going to get into that. Why is it? I'm talking about the politics as of now. 2025 is not great. It's actually going to be, 2026 is a myth at this point. I can't deny it anymore. Mexico smiled sweetly. Though it was a Russian smile filled with iciness, which was surprising for the hot country. Temperature, calm down, guys, calm down. As you can see, media has no interest in eating dinner with you, Mexico said. So be good little boy and take refusal like a man. America glared at her. He's my brother, America said, and he's going to have dinner with his family. He is, Mexico said. He's going with his uncles. That's our family. Yes, it. Come on! Wait, come on. Wales whispered, trying to Canada away. Now's our chance to escape. Mexico smirked angrily as the group left the princess the opportunity she gave them. Canada's uncles walked away as fast as they could right before they reached to the men's room. So the nation exit the British brothers recognized. Hold on, Scotland said, grabbing other attention. Aren't we the old colony of Portugals? Canada recognized the other now. It was Macau. He had seen them with Monaco a few times. Macau blinked before he smiled. You're England's brother, right? Macau asked. I remember you from those times Portugal dragged me on to visit England. When they were having their smooch times, when they were having fun I should probably just remove myself from the conversations because there ain't no way why I say this. Not that I minded, since I got a chance to see Hong Kong and turned to Canada with blinkets. Shit. Sorry, but who are you? Canada sighed. Used the question. He hugged Kuja tightly in his chest. I'm Canada, he said. Macau's eyes widened in the field of recognition. You're one of England's old colonies, right? Macau asked. Yeah, Hong Kong speaks a lot about you quite often. Canada blinked surprised. He does? Canada asked, astonished. Yes, Macau said. He likes you. He says that you often spent your birthday together while you were still living with England. Well, since we share a birthday, it was only natural that we spend it together. Yeah, I guess so, Macau said, hiding his face behind his fan. So, where are you guys heading? Dinner, Ireland said. Who's cooking? Restaurant. That's right, kids. We can't trust any of them to cook since they cook your rubbish. And I'm not exactly in the mood to eat garbage, monsieur. You and foie gras and late. Hey, our cooking's not that bad. Are you kidding? Hong Kong had to borrow Australia's Vegemite to make it at least somewhat edible. And he hates the stuff. Kenta had said jokingly his uncle's pouted and accepted the joke for what it was. I can also remember Hong Kong mentioning Australia's horrible concoction. Yes, we have fairy bread and Vegemite. What's up? I guess I should be thankful for Chinese cooking, Macau said. Speaking of, I probably need to get going. All right, Scotland said. Nice to see you again. Macau smiled before he started walking in the opposite direction. Kansas group making their way along the original course. When he was a fair distance away, Macau stopped, turned to look back at Canada, his fan in front of his face. He likes you indeed, Macau said, when you might realize. I hope you don't break his heart. Macau continued on his way until he saw brown hair among others. Hong Kong, Macau said, Taiwan, China. The other three waved for him, and he easily caught up to them. Turned Hong Kong. So I met Canada, Macau said casually. Hong Kong's face remained passive, a true poker face. It made the game a little more challenging for Macau. He so tense just by looking at Hong Kong's eyes that he was expecting something like that. Oh, really? Hong Kong asked, not looking at Macau. Sim. He was with England's brothers. They were going to dinner tonight. Hope they're not going. No, restaurant. Come Bisley and Macau check. You want to join him, don't you? When was the last time you spoke? Does that matter to you? Hong Kong bit back and Macau chuckled. He seems nice, though. And cute. Hong Kong threw him a look. Macau knew it was a glare. Even cool. Home as they usually relax. Macau said, I didn't mean it that way. I was just saying that he looks rather adorable, hugging his bear like that. Who looks so tall? Kenda, Cal said. Ignore Hong Kong's word look. I don't relate with him. Hey, isn't that the guy? Hong Kong, right? Sim. Ayah! China said, can we stop talking about I want to know who my little brother's like, especially if it's a Western nation. Sorry, Macau said before he looked at Hong Kong. I noticed something about Macau. He seems surprised that you were speaking about. Ow, it would seem. Hong Kong nodded his head. He has some self-esteem issues, Hong Kong said. He's been ignored and neglected a lot. And sometimes I thought he's nothing more than ghosts. Has he told you that? No, I'm just very observant. It's been a long time since I saw him smile, truly. Macau nodded, lost in his thoughts. Canada was broken in a way, and you know that Hong Kong wanted to fix it. What's up here? Maybe the legal age of consent? Maybe that? The age of consent, maybe? Maybe the fact that Hong Kong is most likely a teenager. I think, yeah. I don't know if he is a teenager as of now, but hey, gray area. We don't talk about nations' ages anymore. Even the cows, even a lot of media, we still acknowledge the fact that they're the age. A lot of ages are still canon, believe it or not. Who said that? Oh, who said that? We love hand cannons. I love you guys hand cannon. Anyways, let's read the end notes from the author. I can totally see Macau as someone who would hide his facial expression behind his fan, unless he's playing poker, of course. Also, I'm actually curious about Vegemite. I like Marmite, so I want to try out. But you can't really get it in South Africa. South Africa! Oh my god. South Africa. You're from South Africa? Actually, a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with a New Zealander. She was quick to shoot Vegemite down. We had a long talk about the joys of Marmite. The Americans sitting with us looked a little disturbed. Wait. Alright, so let's... Okay, so let me jot down all the things in a few simple sentences. 1. The fuck ass UK brothers put a popularity spell on Canada to make him more appealing, apparently. 2. It's a fever dream. 3. So the First Nations that we see in this are, like, I'm not even gonna say romantic or not, because, hey, mixed media at this point. Okay, everyone that we see so far. Canada, England, France, America, Scotland, Wales, Ireland. Did I say Ireland? Yeah, I did. Ukraine, Australia, Netherlands. Not in order, by the way. I don't care about the order. It's Molos. Yeah. Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, China. I forgot the red. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you guys probably listened to the end and had my thoughts on it. And so for the 6 chapters, 5 technically, from prologue to 5th chapter, how do we feel about this piece of fan fiction? Right now, I'm gonna rate it. What the fuck am I reading? And I am corny. I am sorry. I am a cornball. If you don't like my humor, that's fine. You don't have to listen to my humor. I'm trying to introduce fanfiction to y'all. Well, only this one, since it's funny and it's so out of pocket. As it ran from 2017 to 2019. Evie Chan out, who had to suffer reading this on I'm not even going to say where I am at this point, because just bear with me. Just bear with me. And I'm sorry about all the jokes I made and all the technicality stuff I said. You don't have to like it. Just join in just because. If I can ignore or USUK shippers and spam mono shippers and all the technically this discourse course when it's not needed, then I'm good with it. I'm chill with y'all. I'm chill with anyone at this point, because I can't really, I'm not going to try and fight myself through hordes and hordes of people who disagree with me. Opinions exist, guys. Technicalities exist. Irrational reasonings exist. And best of all, my son exists.